Your destiny is already made when you took birth. And they try to find astrologers, okay, what will happen to me in my life, whom I will marry, which job, how much money, how will I achieve, will I understand the divinity. Destiny can be changed with conscious, continuous efforts. And destination is to be followed.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Game of Life. For our returning subscribers, thank you, welcome back. It's another episode. We'll be continuing the journey of celebration of Spooty Synopsis. Okay, if you did not know, with me in the studio is Devang Shukla, and if already you didn't know, we're going through his master's book, Spooty Synopsis. We encourage you to read the book along with us. Go back on the videos, we're ready to take on your questions. So it is said that a divine mind is the zenith of all minds.
Yes.
You agree?
Yes, 100%.
Why?
See, when you raise the consciousness that is in with the mind that you take birth in, and when you activate through the spiritual energy, so that consciousness takes the next stage of intuitional mind or the mind of moral sanctity. And then it raises to the supreme soul. So the supreme soul is the state of, you can say, highest wisdom. It's also the stage of where you have merged with the divine, which we can say as Paramatma. So if we can imagine that we have a very small, a soul, and if that soul merges at the universal level with the divine soul, so that is the highest level of understanding. So let us now explore further.
Okay, so today we'll be talking about divinity. It's a long read, but we're going to take it in sections. So let's start. Devote to divinity promotes the self into soul. Love is the theory in concept. Humanity is the practical factor which turns as divinity.
So this is where Master throws light and tells you that divinity is the destination, the final point, where your understanding will go at a universal level.
So when you say the target, what do you mean?
Means there is a stage of evolution from an instinctive mind to intellectual mind to intuitional mind, and intuitional mind to divine mind. So there are stages. To put it in a very, even if I want to shorten it, I can say self-realization and divine realization. Knowing what you are fully and then knowing the universe. Now, devote to divinity is where you are going and promote the self into soul. So, the self that we are born with, we saw in the earlier quote, self is of two types. The sensorium-based mind and the spiritual mind. Love is the theory in concept. So, what he says is love is the real concept is love. So, love is the concept, but how do we know that love? Humanity is the practical factor. So imagine the person with love, like he says, promotes the self into soul. The person at a basic level, which sometimes he writes as mundane mind. His love may be restricted to his son, to his daughter, to his wife. He may think, okay, the other person is different, mine is different. Me and mine, that is the language of a normal person. But when you elevate your consciousness, when you go towards the compassion, then love is a flow and available for everyone. So humanity is the practical factor.
So it is possible for me to be loving existence.
Yes.
Wow.
It is possible not just for you, for every human who takes on the way that we have discussed in the previous episode. And then he writes, humanity is the practical factor which we have seen, which turns as divinity. So why he says which turns as divinity? Because there are two milestones. In one is, one realizes the self, he realizes the conscience, or he attains a state or a feeling of mind of moral sanctity. So that state your love manifests to the whole world. It is not restricted to few. That is one step. But he says which turns as divinity. So there is a second milestone. The second milestone is from mind of moral sanctity to divine mind, or attaining the supreme soul, going from spiritual soul to supreme soul. So divinity is the destination. So he says devote to divinity, and then he tells you the stage. Elevate the self to soul. Love is the thing. Humanity is the thing. But humanity finally turns to divinity. Destiny follows. Destination is to be followed. So some people feel that, your destiny is already made when you took birth. And they try to find astrologers, okay, what will happen to me in my life, whom I will marry, which job, how much money, how will I achieve, will I understand the divinity. So what he says, destiny can be changed with conscious, continuous efforts. And destination is to be followed. So you should know that this is where I want to go. And it happens all the time. It is a natural evolution. If a person is doing very well in his life, in terms of professional excellence, in terms of business excellence, he will get a kind of dissatisfaction. He will say, is there something more that I can do? And you see people like Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or many, many more who venture into philanthropic activities.
Is a divine mind a satisfied mind?
100%. A divine mind is a satisfied mind. A material mind is always hankering for things, and that is the reason of disturbance. Your mental peacefulness is not there. The peaceful state is lost. And you may find many billionaires and millionaires doing suicide. Why? Because they have not realized the value of life. And this is why it is a very good step to introduce the game of life to everyone.
It's really not about the things we acquire here or the work we do or the family we come from. It's about realizing ourselves and then divinity.
Perfect. Realizing ourselves, then promoting the self to divinity. So now can I go further?
Yes, please.
The fidelity as well as the credibility with no avidity provides the sanity of the divinity. So what he is saying is that one cannot give an evidence that, okay, this is what is divinity, because evidence-based is science. And science has a limitation. Like imagine, I have never tasted sugar in my life and you have tasted sugar. Can you explain in words or, give evidence of how the sugar tastes without me tasting it? That is the limitation which we have to bear in mind. But what he is saying is we have to connect it with the second one. Love is the cosmic flower that blossoms the fragrance of compassion. So it has a beautiful fragrance of humanity, serving people. Having no passion. So passionate mind, fragmented mind. Fragmented mind means, imagine you are sitting with me, but you are thinking of your office. So you are fragmented. Even when you are with me, you are not fully with me. So what he is saying is that the divine mind is having the good heart of compassion and humanity, and it does not have passion.
The divine mind does not have passion?
Passion. So passionate mind means the mind which gets attracted to pleasures. You are sitting here, but you are thinking of something else. Those thoughts are coming without your permission. He is not a slave of habituation, thoughts, things. All are his slave actually.
Wow.
So he uses the thoughts to carry his life, but thoughts cannot use him.
Wow.
So divinity is the destination, godliness is the guidance. So divinity is the destination because you know that being divine at that stage of supreme soul is the destination. Godliness is the guidance. Godliness means virtuous behavior. What is right? What is helpful, healthy, not just for oneself, but for the society.
Okay, so it says, listen to the silent self and bestow for thyself the vision of divinity. Raise the mind, reach the divinity.
Yes. So on one side, there is a material mind, which you can identify through thoughts. But on the other side, there is a spiritual mind, which is not in the realm of thoughts. So he is saying, raise the consciousness, raise the spiritual consciousness of the silent self. Why silent? No thoughts, means it's silent. And then I think he says, reach towards divinity, right?
Yes, raise the mind, reach the divinity.
Raise the mind, reach the divinity. Raise the mind means he's not talking of raising the material mind. That okay, you were thinking of, let's say $100, now you are talking of $100,000. That's not he's talking of. He is talking of raise the spiritual consciousness with which you give value of being a human. That is what he's talking about.
Okay, thank you so much. It's been a good episode. We've just taken part A of Divinity. You would want to stick around for part B.